This has happened to you. This is the true torturous truth that is Turbine. Those that have tried to take the intel to put an end to the tyranny have found that it's so terrible that it's just better to take off and close the game. Turtling, tight corridors, and a terrible map. This is more akin to Tartarus than a TF2 map. But why? Dramatic opening aside, Turbine is usually one of the worst maps within TF2. Dust Bowl may be poorly designed for TF2 and have a multitude of problems with it, but it's at least a fun map to play. Wish I could say the same for Turbine, which is not just a poorly designed map on a poorly designed game mode, but an extremely unfun map to play too. If it's not fun, why bother? Let's get the obvious stuff out of the way here. Capture the flag. It doesn't have a round timer. Matches can go on forever, and although this can be fun for the average 11-year-old with no moderation skills and no school tomorrow, most people eventually do need to move on. Hey, we capping? This infinite timer especially becomes a problem when considering where the spawns are usually located on CTF maps and how defensive these maps can become, with the biggest culprit of this crime being Turbine. Taking a look at spawn, you can choose between one of two doors. This one, which places you closer to the front lines, and this one, which places you closer to the intelligence. This pathway here also leads towards the intelligence, but you'll never see anybody actually try to go this way because you're almost guaranteed to have someone walk out of spawn and kill you if you even think about it. As a result, this small ammo pack here is kinda useless, since the defending team has access to a resupply literally 5 feet away, and the attacking team won't ever be able to push and hold atop the stairs long enough to make use of it. Going down these stairs leads us to this door, and I'm not sure who thought it was a good idea to put a door here. I'm not sure if you knew this one, but doors, you can't see through them. This also applies to the other side too. If you're pushing out from this door, you have zero idea what to expect. There could be a sentry, a sticky trap, a revved up heavy, or a sniper hardscoping it.
That there is just a sad display, boy.
There's simply no way to respond and quickly adapt to whatever's behind that door, so it's not really a smart or safe idea to ever go through it, so don't. So what about the other way to reach the middle of the map? Well, you could go the long way for your intelligence room, or you could go through the vents. I've seen Brazilian prison cells with more room than these vents. You can go one of 3 ways with them: spawn, mid, or to the intelligence with this drop down section. And once again, we run into the issue of it being a blind corner and a leap of faith to knowing what's around the corner. But somehow worse because it's a literal straight line that you can't strafe in. Ugh. The main issue I have with these vents, however, is that they're designed as Turbine's flank path. Somehow. Now, when I think of flank routes, a few that come to my mind is this underground tunnel here on Pier, this computer room on Mercenary Park, or this outside area on Double Cross if I really stretch it. These areas are out of the way for both teams and not directly across from their spawn, and all provide easy and often beneficial access to the objective. This vent flank, however, is a drop down that is high enough to deal fall damage, and doesn't allow you to see below you, meaning you'll probably drop into a sentry nest by accident, assuming you don't accidentally walk right into the enemy team while trying to get there. So don't go this way either. This leaves us with the final way to safely enter the enemy's intelligence room. The straightforward way. And this little area here is definitely the best section of the map. It's actually really well made, if only Flobster sprinkled some of that effort into other parts of the map. This corner is perfect for a sentry or a sniper to stand in, as both perform amazing here. The enemy team can push them back to the other side of this room here, and look at that! You can actually look at that! The power of glass, folks. This allows both teams to see what's coming up and allows them to strategize and actually respond or react to the enemy team's tactics. This large health pack and upper area here is also a nice reward for whoever is capable of holding this section. My only problem with this part of this map is that because it's the only reliable way to get to the intel, everybody comes here, instantly making this room a clusterfuck with the attackers being stopped roughly here and the defenders holding here. Very hard to reliably get kills or make a push in this situation, leading to a stalemate. And finally we have arrived at the middle of the map. It's pretty basic. You have 2 crates people can jump on to get the high ground, or the overhang here which leads into spawn. The ceiling is high enough, allowing for soldiers and demos to do some blast jumping on this map, but that's really it. These 2 cubbies, which each contain a large health pack, is also a very nice death trap since you can get yourself blocked in here very easily by a heavy, pyro scout, or even an engineer. And because the cubby is so small, soldiers and demos can just shoot into it and deal splash damage to you. Get in, get the health, get out before you get stuck. The overhang may seem to provide you with the high ground on players at mid, but with how small it is and how close your back is against the wall, you're quite prone from splash damage from rockets and grenades. Because the overhang is so high up, if people flank from the stairs, you're in a do or die situation. You might die from fall damage, or you might die from the enemy. Also keep in mind that the overhang leads directly into the perfect sniper sight line with that corner there. As a result, I don't really recommend staying up here for that long. And there we have it, why Turbine is guilty of being a terrible capture the flag map.
Objection!
Few maps in TF2 can have the privilege of being called a deathmatch map. The maps need an objective, which can be ignored by the players, but still be centralized enough to actually bring people in to fight against. And the maps have to be generalized enough to have every class be able to play on it. High Tower and 2 Fort are the more obvious examples. Every class can play on it, and although you'll typically see more of a specific class on each map, all the classes can still play it and engage in fights. This is due to one factor, and one factor alone: how hard it is to lock them down. A team can set up right outside the blue battlements with a dispenser keeping them up and a level 3 sentry on the bridge, but they don't lock down the sewers, allowing you to flank the team camping outside. High Tower, on the other hand, is such an open map that you can only lock down these inside sections here, and even then you still have ways to get around them or attack from afar. Turbine, though, don't go through these doors, don't go through these vents, don't drop down here, don't stand here for too long, don't be in here for too long, and as a result it becomes very easy for one team to completely dominate and control the map. You can have one person sit in the vent and completely close it off. You can have one person guard the door and completely close it off. A sentry can lock down both the spawn door and the vent entrance if placed correctly, and a soldier or demo can freely jump to and from the bottom of mid to the overhang if need be. Combine this with the perfect sniper sightline that covers the door, vent entrance, and corner to the intelligence, and you have a recipe for a stalemate, resulting in everyone trying to push through and fight in the small corner section here and not the open and large mid area. You try to push through that corner, there's a sentry, a sticky, a revved up heavy, and a sniper with your name on it. They try to push the same thing. It leads to a very boring and slow deathmatch map, and that's why it's terrible for it. And that is why Turbine is a terrible map. Thank you to Totally Not You for finding the monkey and being my legal counsel, although I'm not really sure if you're qualified to do either or. I gotta say, this animating thing, I mean, I'm kind of terrible at it now, but it's not as bad as I thought it would be. Only a matter of time till I crack the secret, you know, and just get really good at it. Practice makes perfect and all that fun stuff.